Welcome to the Sushi Swap MISO AMA, where we chat with projects that have launched through the MISO factory. Check out past, present, and future auctions at miso.sushi.com. Today we are here with Rob from iTrust Finance. Thanks for being here.
Hiya, great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you bet.
Very much looking forward to this AMA.
Yeah. I'll just start off here and ask you a few questions to kind of get things rolling, and then we'll open it up to the audience as well. So anybody in the audience, as we get going here, you can raise your hand. There's a button at the bottom there with the hand. And then, just put your hand up. We can get you on stage and ask some questions. And we've also got the AMA text questions channel where you can add your questions in there. And then we can go from there. Just a heads up for anybody with the POAPs. Got a bit of an issue with them lately here, so I'm going to do my best to try and capture that for everyone, but it may be a bit of a delay. So just a forewarning there. Might be a few days just before I can issue any of those. So anyway, Rob, if you don't mind, just give us a little intro about yourself, background and involvement with iTrust currently.
Sure, yeah. So I've been, I'd say, kind of fully devoted to the blockchain space since around 2017. I was made aware of Bitcoin almost from like the white paper due to a couple of friends of mine were involved in trading futures. So they were kind of in that trader world, came across it. I didn't necessarily fully understand, what blockchain and Bitcoin and everything really signified. But since around 2017 and kind of learning with Ethereum and the idea of DAOs and all of that stuff, just really progressed my understanding of it. So as I said, I've been very involved since 2017. I actually lived in Korea for a number of years, to about 5 years. So I saw that kind of crazy kimchi tax the first time round it happened, and kind of lived through that. And I was helping a number of projects and kind of turned my focus to more of a development and kind of not infrastructure necessarily, but just concept building and also working with development teams to kind of get those concepts to product. So that's a lot of what I've done with iTrust. It's been a really, really exciting journey so far. Obviously we had our MISO launch recently. Just really looking forward to building iTrust out and getting it, just getting it into the wild, really, I guess is the best way of putting it.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, it's great to hear. And how did iTrust come about? Was there like kind of inspiration for that, or just go ahead.
Sure. So back in 2017, 3 of the core members of iTrust invested in the seed round of Nexus Mutual. And this was kind of like right after the bubble burst. So Nexus went through a couple years of almost, like growing pains, really. And it wasn't until the DeFi summer that we all just went through where Nexus really obviously, it kind of found its use case, right?
Right.
And it obviously got a lot of attention, and the DeFi space, just really needed that kind of product. I think what we saw in the DeFi summer was how limiting Nexus, or because they wrapped the Nexus token, it then limited the amount of cover capacity that was available within the Nexus, which then limited the amount of premiums that could be sold and the amount of cover that could be kind of issued, right?
Okay.
So the initial idea of iTrust Finance is it's almost an insurance trust, which is where the name comes from. So this is, everyone thinks it's iTrust as in like you trust us or something. It's really comes from the idea of an insurance trust, and we are building the cover capacity for the Nexus Mutual, So that was just that was the initial thought of what iTrust would be. It's then obviously expanded to, we realized that there was a lot of DeFi insurance protocols coming out. It kind of became like the hip thing to do in some ways. But we realized very early on that all of these guys are going to have the same kinds of problems that Nexus have, especially due to the structure of the underlying cover protocol, right? So Nexus is actually structured as a discretionary mutual. So any kind of claims payouts are at the discretion of the mutual, right? So this discretionary model means that you have to be like a KYC member, and all of these sorts of problems are what led to wrapping of the token, and then this kind of underutilization of cover capacity. So yeah, that's the idea of iTrust really, is we see ourselves being this overreaching insurance trust for many of the DeFi insurance protocols that are coming out now.
Okay. Yeah. All right, that's good. Yeah, kind of gave us an overview on how it came about and kind of the inspirations behind it, and then a brief overview on how it works. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I could also, I mean, maybe just another thing is we're really trying to kind of tackle the pain points that we saw with the kind of growth of Nexus Mutual, which was that people aren't necessarily confident enough or have the understanding to stake against certain contracts or pick certain contracts. And so that also leads to less cover capacity because people aren't necessarily staking within the mutual to actually provide that cover capacity, and they're basically just relying on token appreciation and hodling Nexus, whereas the Nexus really benefits if it's it operates more efficiently if it has an active kind of staking and community behind it that understands where to allocate this cover capacity. So that's another thing that we're bringing in with the risk managed staking is we have a team that will, we have our own processes which have been audited by the best in the business for us to select these the contracts to stake against, and as well as that we are able to essentially stake your tokens across multiple contracts, right? It's kind of like leverage in a way, but it's if you think of insurance, one insurance company does not sell one car insurance premium because they can only cover one car accident, right? They'll sell 100 knowing that only 10% are probably going to have some sort of claims payouts. Yes. That's what I like to think of it like that in iTrust model, is we're staking against multiple contracts that we have this risk assess processed on, and you can obviously earn your rewards, in this case Nexus rewards, but depending on which protocol or which vault you'd be staking through, there would be other types of rewards, as well as the iTrust governance token on top of that. So yeah, that's maybe a good explainer as to the bigger picture of how we got to where we are.
Yeah, right. And then you kind of touched on the vaults there as well. So people getting in and out of the vaults with tokens and whatnot. So yeah, and I guess like with the NXM or Nexus Mutual partnership, I guess how did that kind of come about, or I guess just through mutual?
Yeah. So as I said, 3 of the guys invested very early on into Nexus. They've been very close to Hugh. One of the founders / advisors at iTrust is actually an advisor from like day one at Nexus. So we have a real relationship that is goes really back to the beginning of DeFi insurance, I guess. I like to joke that we are kind of OG DeFi insurance candidates, but so that's how the relationship came along, and as we said, the initial idea for the iTrust platform was really a way of helping Nexus build this cover capacity, helping people with wrap tokens to essentially stake and earn rewards off it. So it's always been it's beneficial, it's symbiotic for everyone, which is how this idea is really, I feel like it's snowballed, because it really is beneficial for everyone, including the wider DeFi community, because the more efficient that Nexus operates, the cheaper premiums are, the more accessible DeFi insurance is, and ultimately the more accessible DeFi will become over the long run.
Yeah. Has there been any coverage or any like claims, I guess, so far with Nexus that have that's not?
Yeah, there's been a number.
Mm-hmm.
There's actually some pretty. I'll have to dig out some Medium posts or articles. There's some
Right.
really interesting ones that happened around the BXZ hack or something. There was, I can't remember exactly which one it was now, but essentially the smart contract acted how this, there was not a malfunction on the smart contract level, and
Mm-hmm.
Nexus's insurance covers a certain number of things, right? One of
Okay.
them being the smart contract didn't act how it was meant to, therefore that is immediately cover is paid out on that.
Got
But
it.
in this case, the hacker had actually manipulated. There was one source of Oracle data that this contract was pinned to, and the hacker had managed to manipulate this one source of data, which then meant the contract acted in a certain way, and essentially there was a lot of lost assets.
Mm-hmm.
But the mutual actually had to cast a vote whether to pay out or not, with the understanding that they actually didn't really have to pay out because the contract had acted how it should have acted,
Okay.
but it would have been better for the mutual if they had paid out, because the guy kind of the contract and the assets that were lost were lost in a way that wasn't really the user's fault, and should have made you could argue should have been covered. So it was at the discretion of the mutual that they ended up paying out the lost party. So
Okay.
I think that's a great example of how a decentralized discretionary mutual can really provide cover in this new world, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but there have been a number of payouts. You can actually go to the Nexus site and see, you can literally just see the claims and payouts and so on. So yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah, that's really good to hear. Cool. Yeah. So with I see, like, just want to touch on like the buyback and hodl fund or your fund 26. You want to just
Yeah.
discuss that a bit?
Yeah, sure. So there will be there are certain costs to running the DAO, and
Right.
any of those costs that come out of the kind of foundation allocation and so on, if there are any costs left over, then we will look to pass those on to something we're calling Fund 26.
Okay.
The idea of this fund is essentially that I like to call it the lifetime of the DAO. So we have a token emissions, which is, we have a max supply of 100 million, and we're minting those over 5 years. But at the end of the 5 years, we kind of want to give, as I said, the lifetime of the DAO more opportunity, and obviously this depends on how the DAO develops. But we're looking to be fully decentralized within 3 years. We have a really good kind of community development lead that has given us a good structure and baseline to work off, and kind of mapping out how we could kind of start that road to decentralization. And one of them is the endpoint where we think, okay, if there's this Fund 26 that can be unlocked in 2026, which is after the 5 years emission is finished,
Right.
then there's kind of more life in the DAO left, and how that fund is allocated and distributed will probably come down to governance rights and so on,
Got it.
coming near the end of the lifetime of the current DAO.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's cool. It's an interesting idea. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was born out of there's a lot of buyback and burn, and all
Mm-hmm.
of these ideas, and we've done a lot of research and reading into kind of DAO structures, and we've come across this. I mean, if you really dig into the white paper, there are certain kind of links to other research papers and stuff. So it's not something that's just been kind of thought up. There's been a lot of thinking around what benefits this brings in the long run and to the whole community as a whole, right? So yeah.
Yeah, cool. One other thing that kind of caught my attention was the your approach to the Harburger tax. Harburger, am I saying that correctly?
Yeah, Harburger tax, Harbinger tax.
Harburger. Yes.
So yeah, Harbinger tax is, I can't remember the exact year it was kind of thought up and created. I think it was around the 70s.
Yeah, I thought I saw 71 or something like that, but
Okay, yeah. So
anyway.
the idea is essentially property taxation and valuation is like a real monopoly, right? Like if you own, essentially if you own like real estate in the kind of modern world and in, you know, large cities like London, New York, etc., you kind of have this uh, monopolistic kind of control over the population, right? Because you can just set rents how you want, and it kind of breeds this environment, this predatory environment of landowners versus renters. And I think, you know, I think a lot of us have felt that, especially in our generation, right? House prices seem so beyond what is obtainable to most people.
Yeah.
So the Harburger tax is essentially you set the value of the house, and you set what you're willing to pay for it, and you set in our version you set a burn rate which is akin to like the rent, and the theory is that people will only pay for their house if they are willing to use it, and they will also only the maintenance around you know, paying for upgrades and so on of your house becomes, it's a very different model of valuation and ownership, essentially. I'd almost suggest people really go and read into the kind of theoretical thought processes that went into the Harbinger tax, because it's just amazingly written paper, and it's definitely worth reading if you're interested in kind of radical economics, I guess. But yeah, so the way we've applied this, and it's really through our partnership with Finance Vote, because they've created this yield.vote system, and what it essentially does is it mixes governance with LP tokens. So if you consider, I think the easiest way is maybe if I just throw up in the chat like a little yield kind of picture, which will make it easier to understand. But essentially there are yield farming rewards that are issued on this kind of property basis, but you have to allocate how much you're willing to kind of spend on that property. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So you could say, for me to earn a portion of the LP rewards, I want to own the property. So let's say if you had a pie chart that was cut into 10 different like slices, you considered each one of those a property.
Okay.
And let's say there was 100 LP tokens being issued within a certain time frame, and they also issued on a cascading basis, like a block by block basis. It goes down the amount that are issued.
Okay.
So you would then go and pay a certain amount to own that property, and you would set a certain amount of burn rate for the LP token. So let's say one property was worth, you know, you had to pay 100 LP tokens to hold it, and you could burn it at a rate of 0.1 LP tokens for I think it's a month that this cascading LP rewards are issued. Then essentially you would be burning 0.1 LP token to earn what that pizza slice gets issued across that time frame. I don't know if I'm explaining it very well, but but yeah, you wouldn't lose the 100 LP tokens you put down to hold that spot, but for anyone else to come and take your spot and earn the LP rewards that are being emitted, you would basically have to put a higher value. So you would have to say 105 LP tokens, and then the original property owner would get their 100 back, but only lose the zero point 0.1 that they put down as the burn rate.
Okay.
And the interesting bit about all of this is the amount that you're willing to put down as your burn rate, that goes back to the liquidity pool and essentially creates rug thickness. And it creates like a more stable liquid market because that LP token or that fraction of the LP token or, you know, however much that tax is worth or goes up to, because as I said, you can come in and put a higher amount on. So you could say 105 for the property and I'll burn, you know, 0.5 LP tokens for this pulse. Then yeah, you would be burning that amount to the liquidity pool, and it would essentially create rug thickness, which is, you know, for long-term benefit really of the project. Okay. So that's the theory of how to use the Harberger tax in a kind of crypto economic world.
Okay. Yeah, it's quite abstract, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
If
I
it,
think as you said, it's really abstract, and one of the beauties of kind of token, I guess, token economics is that you can actually start to implement these like radical ideas in an environment that is, you know, but how could you actually feasibly turn everybody to start valuing their property as in a Harberger kind of environment, right? Just wouldn't work.
Yeah.
But you can do that in the crypto world. You can try these kind of interesting experiments. So
Yeah, this is the place
yeah,
for it.
exciting.
This is quite a sandbox we have here.
Yeah, unfortunately I can't add a picture into the
Oh yeah, maybe
chat
there's.
here. Is there any way?
I
Am I
don't.
blocked?
Yeah, I don't know if maybe this channel doesn't allow for pictures. It may not. No, I don't know. Somebody posted it. Oh,
Oh, yeah.
Zappuccini posted it. Oh, you have to use a link. Zappuccini has.
Okay.
Um. Yes.
Is that what, like a URL link or something?
Yeah, you'll have to have a URL link to that image. If it's something online there, you should be able to click on it. And,
Yeah, no, this is literally just a screenshot that
something
I've
you've
got.
right.
It's a lot easier to explain the Harvard tax with a few of these things, but I mean, we can post some stuff in the
Sure.
group, in the AMA text later, and they can read up on it and you know, come into the iTrust Telegram group and hound us with any questions around it, because we'll be releasing that pretty soon with the SUSHI LP tokens and creating these kind of property pools.
Sure.
So yeah, we can. It's going to be fun.
Cool. I just want to open this up as well to the audience. If anybody has questions, please raise your hand, or like as we've been mentioning here, the AMA text questions. Please put your questions in there, and we can get you up on stage and ask some questions. So, yeah. Wanted to chat about the yield.vote. You kind of touched on it as well with just as we were talking about the Harbinger.
So yield.vote, sorry, is the kind of that is what is implementing the Harberger kind of theory. Yeah, that is yield.vote. We've currently got a couple of other pools open at the moment. So I think we have a one-sided Blue Lagoon pool, and that is also I think it's 50% APY. It's only 1 million ITG tokens, so that's a pool we've got going at the moment. But yeah, those yield.vote pools will be they'll be launching in the next kind of week or so. I think we're launching our LP program either the end of this week or the start of next week, I believe.
Okay.
So
Yeah, right on. Yeah, so people can start getting involved then. Wicked. Wicked.
Cool.
Yeah, wrecked market. Yeah, the wrecked market. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, the wrecked, or what is kind of being dubbed the shipwrecked prediction market, because I don't know if our concept is all based kind of around the ocean. So,
Right.
but essentially, the wrecked prediction market is we are creating a prediction market that involves quadratic voting, token weighted voting, and token rewards for good predictions. And the predictions will be on which protocols are next going to be wrecked. So the idea is
Mm.
because we have, for instance, have a direct relationship with Nexus Mutual, we can see when a claim has been made,
Mm-hmm.
and if there's a claims payout, that is essentially, we haven't quite defined all the nuances around it, but our thinking is going down the route of you can see when a claim has been paid out and basically mirror that to the prediction data, and then you can have a winner of who had that prediction that this protocol was vulnerable.
Right.
So yeah, we'll be running that with, again, with Finance Vote. They have a lot of really cool prediction and kind of voting technology, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
and looking to do it with Nexus, and yeah, that should be getting released maybe within the next 3 or 4 weeks if we're pushing it. I don't know if I can put any solid dates on it, but we're
Mm-hmm.
pretty close to um, getting a version ready and live, and so we're not too far from releasing that.
Okay.
But yeah, essentially it'll be quite an interesting kind of experiment, I think, because there may be, if claims aren't paid out over a long amount of time, then there'll almost be like a kind of rollover lottery effect
Yeah.
of iTrust rewards, FVT rewards. I think there's maybe, I mean, hopefully we can get some Nexus rewards as well, but I think there's also one or two other prediction companies we're looking to partner with in this market. So multi-token reward prediction market, which uses quadratic voting and token weighted voting, is next up, I guess.
Okay. Cool. Cool. And you kind of touched on the ocean and the coral there. What's how did you come up with that, or what's the I trust concept for that?
Yeah, so it's I like the concept, and I like it because I think I had quite a lot of involvement with the development of the idea. So I'm quite proud of it, I think. But essentially, we started off with the idea that a blockchain is kind of like a living, or a DAO even is more like a living thing,
Mm-hmm.
quite like a coral is a
Right.
living structure. And also that structural element of the DAO is quite akin to blockchain. So that's how it started, and then it kind of grew because we realized that within coral ecosystems and marine ecosystems is where you get the most kind of prominent examples of symbiotic or mutually beneficial relationships. And essentially, what the iTrust Finance DAO does is create these mutually beneficial relationships between stakers and insurance providers.
Mm-hmm.
So, as I've kind of been banging on about, this cover capacity thing is hugely beneficial for underlying insurance or cover protocols, and the the kind of accrual of rewards and the kind of administrative side of the risk managed staking that we're able to do is also beneficial for the staker within iTrust. So that's where the idea of the kind of symbiotic relationships came from.
Mm-hmm.
And then if we kind of expanded that out even further, um, this is kind of crazy, but insurance comes from the sea. And I know that sounds kind of mad, but some of the earliest forms of discretionary mutuals came from marine insurance.
Okay.
So basically, back in the 1700s, if you had a ship that either got lost at sea or, um, was shipwrecked, then you'd basically lose all of the value in the goods, like the spices and the
Yep. Right.
gold and
Right.
all
Right.
of this stuff that was on that. So that's kind of akin to a rug pull, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
like if you lose what's in that contract, the whole of the value's probably gone. And there's no way it's like in the sea of just of DeFi, I guess. So that's why the prediction market became the shipwrecked
Mm-hmm.
market. But yeah, the concept really, really flows with the whole idea of the earliest forms of discretionary mutuals came from marine insurance.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, that's how our concept developed.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, that's an interesting journey with that. So very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, just want to remind anybody here that if you're interested, please raise your hand. There's the button down at the bottom of the AMA stage. We can get you up on stage and you can ask some questions, or we do have the AMA text questions channel where you can ask your questions and we'll discuss them here after that. So yeah. One other thing I wanted to ask about was I saw something about NFTs for reduced fees.
Yeah. So, um, I mean, NFTs just generally have been an amazing kind of weird thing in the
Mm-hmm.
blockchain space, right? I think it's been incredible, the amount of awareness it's brought to the space. It also really brings it into that kind of entertainment slash mainstream world, which I think blockchain or crypto maybe
Mm-hmm.
really needed. So yeah, our use of NFTs probably slightly different. I think without getting kind of too granular around the problems or issues that you have to overcome pinning art to NFTs. Our NFTs are very different in the sense that we have business logic written into
Right.
the NFTs. So, an example is we may be able to give reduced fees if you have an NFT that proves you've been a long time staker with the DAO, and
Right.
therefore you should be entitled to certain kind of either privileges or benefits that the newer stakers may not haven't kind of earned yet as such. So I think that's one use of NFTs of our platform. The other use is within the iTrust IDs that you will need to access things like the prediction market. I think as we decentralize the DAO, the idea is that eventually participants can create their own vault structures and earn, from the associated fees to those vault structures, or even other organizations. Let's say, for example, Zokyo audited our contracts. Maybe they could come and have a Zokyo kind of risk managed vault.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the process to get it to the point where the community can create their own vault structures, we feel that we need to have build up this meritocratic rating from good predictions from the shipwrecked market to then kind of say, this user has a rating and has obviously an understanding of smart contract risk, and he's proved this through the voting that can be attributed to the iTrust NFT ID.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another use of NFTs within the platform, and obviously you can see how that, the kind of immutable nature of the NFT is going to be held throughout the whole platform.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, those are the two main ones we've currently got. We do have ideas of bringing a few other, even some real world kind of product stuff in, and we'll get to those as we develop. I think we
Right.
need
Right.
to kind of do the core bits now, and
Of course.
yeah, do the more fun stuff later maybe.
Right. Right. But yeah, you're suggesting that your NFTs are more than just overpriced JPEGs. So That's
I didn't say I didn't say that. No, I
yeah.
mean, look, as I said, I've been pretty involved with the space for a while, and I remember writing like a paper on how you could basically distribute city parking via NFT solutions,
Mm.
and you could reward people who, for instance, take public transport in the week, but then they're allowed like an NFT for a parking spot on the weekend, and
Oh yeah.
if they don't want that, they can then sell that on something
Mm-hmm.
like OpenSea. But
Right.
obviously within a city kind of, I don't know. Let's say you had London City Council have X amount of car parking spots, which are all issued via NFTs, and then you can trade them on if you're a good citizen who uses the bus all the time.
Right.
So there's a kind of social element there. So yeah, I'm glad NFTs have come out, but I'm also slightly disappointed that they have been pinned to overly priced JPEGs, as you
Yeah,
said.
yeah, but I think that's there's some good things happening within the space, and especially like even what you guys are trying to deliver as well. Just giving this kind of attention toward a different shift towards NFTs and saying that it is more than just media hype of overpriced JPEGs. So yeah,
Yeah, exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
cool. If anybody has questions, please raise your hand and we can get you up on stage or in the AMA text questions. But yeah, I guess as we kind of wrap up here, if you want to just kind of walk us through any upcoming releases or a little bit of the roadmap or anything, some stuff that you want to touch on or let people know about.
Yeah, I can drop a little roadmap, just a very kind of brief overview into the chat. But essentially, I think our main we have a working product. You
Right.
can come and stake Nexus today, like
Mm-hmm.
now at the app. It's up, it's live, it's been running. We started to kind of build TVL and so on. It's moving in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, please come and check it out. I think the next iteration of the product is really going to be onboarding future protocols and having this kind of cross insurer vault structure. So let's say that you're having X% yield on BlockFi through Nexus, but through InsureAce you have 2x that. Then
Mm-hmm.
we can kind of create vault structures that take the best yield from the kind of the DeFi and insurance world. So
Right.
that's really the next big milestone for us is onboarding the next insurer, opening up yield.vote, the LP kind of gamified Harberger tax thing I badly explained is that's going to be one of the major releases coming soon.
Okay.
But yeah, I think as I said, we have a working product, which I think is quite rare in the crypto space. I mean, how many metaverses are there that just don't exist?
Mm-hmm.
Yet raised a ton of money, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, we're really proud, as I said, to have this working product. We have a really good relationship with Nexus. We're already talking to a number of other insurers and are looking at integrating them soon.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the main kind of upcoming things. Yeah, and I think it's such a it's such a new space, and within that, DeFi is even so young, right?
Mm-hmm.
That we believe combining all the different kind of aspects of our platform, like for instance the prediction markets and so on, we're going to be able to be some sort of touch point on the DeFi industry as a whole, and maybe a kind of sounding board as to what what the community is predicting on, and we can correlate that to the data over time and see how accurate those predictions can be.
Mm-hmm.
If you start, I've done a lot of work in the wisdom of the crowd type stuff.
Yep.
So we're
Yep.
really
Yep.
looking to utilize the prediction markets and grow that kind of crowd wisdom into a really useful tool for the whole DeFi ecosystem going forwards, really.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where the idea has been expanding to, and the vision is really to just be a pillar of the DeFi kind of community, or the DeFi insurance community,
Yeah.
working with all the protocols that are going to be coming up in the coming years, you know?
Yes. Yes. Very good. Cool. Well, yeah, I guess at this point, it's probably a great place to wrap up. If there's no further questions from the AMA text questions, or anybody here that wants to raise their hand, I guess, where to find you guys, website, socials, all that.
Yeah. So if you go to our website, I'll just drop that in the chat. You can
Awesome.
actually click on the octopus, which is in the bottom right-hand corner, and from there you can go to our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord, which is probably the main places to find us. You can also there's the white paper there and the blog, and which goes to all these Medium articles. I'll drop a load of these in the chat.
Awesome. Yeah, I see that here. So we got
Yeah,
iTrust.finance. So itrust.finance. That's your website, and you're saying that all the socials are available there. If you go down to the right hand or left hand corner with the octopus.
right-hand corner, you'll see
Right-hand
the
corner.
octopus that
Okay.
changes color if your mouse is over him. If you just
Perfect.
click on him, it
Yep.
will go to Telegram, Instagram, and all of that.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm really trying to push that narrative for people to find you find anyone on socials, is to go to the website first, ensure that they got the right website, and then make sure that they come over to
Exactly.
that way there's
I think we've all experienced.
yeah
You gotta be careful.
you can end up
So-
with so many scam artists these days. So it's pirates of the sea.
Pirates, exactly. DeFi pirates that we're trying to avoid. But yeah, no, as I said, please come to the group. You can ask us, anything you like, and we're more than happy to respond and be there. So yeah, as well as that, our Discord is up. I'll be honest, it's not super active right now. It's probably one of the next things that we're really looking to build out. And if there's any kind of experienced community managers or kind of community people who are interested in the DeFi insurance space, particularly, and what we're trying to build here, then please come through. And it's probably easier to find us on Telegram, but the Discord will really be we'll be pushing and building that out over this month as well,
Yeah,
as
awesome.
we start to release all
Yeah,
the things that we're building up.
Cool. Yeah, Discord seems to be working quite well for us, and I'm seeing a lot of other projects that are diving into it. It just offers so much, so it's a great platform, and especially, like I say, being able to do these the AMAs here. We've had a lot of good things here. So yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, really, it's cool. I've enjoyed it. Thank you for having me again.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for coming out, and thanks everyone for joining this AMA. And just again with the popes, everyone, I've got a log here of everybody that's been in the show here, so I will get that out to you. It might take me a few days, just because I'm trying to come up with automated systems rather than having to sit through and email or message each one of you individually. That's just been taking a lot of time to do that. So I won't forget about you. We've got a log of it. I've got stuff from Beefy to do from yesterday and this one. So please be patient with me. We will get you your popes. So for any of you who don't know, that's the proof of attendance protocol badge, and it's just a little thank you. It's a kind of an NFT badge, just a thank you for coming out to this event and showcasing that you were here. So it's minted on the XDAI chain, which is the same as your Ethereum address, and just a proof that you were here.
Do I get one of those?
You will get one. So
nice. I want a speaker one.
And that's maybe what I could look at. I should get people that were
make some speaker ones.
I should make speaker ones as well. So yeah, we'll look at that into the future. But other than that, again, with thank you so much for joining us on this AMA. And this has been recorded and will be posted up to YouTube. So find that on the SUSHI official YouTube channel. should have that up here in a few hours. So check that out. And of course, follow me on Twitter at 0xtangle. And that way you can keep up with any of the latest and upcoming AMAs and any other sushi events. So thank you all so much. And we will talk to you on the next one. All right. Take care.
Yeah, guys. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.